Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. This is your regular show, Connect with Comfort show, and I'm your regular host for the show, Comfort Eyitayo. On this program, we aim to add value to people, enterprise, and personal growth. For each show, we feature special guests who are subject matter experts that helps us to share insights on the topic of the day. I'm glad you're able to join us today. You are most welcome. Today's interesting topic is what touches every aspect of our personal and professional journey, and that is how growth defines who we are. I'll take that again. How growth defines who we are. Growth is more than progress. It is identity in motion. It is the quiet shaping of our values, the refining of our character, and the expanding of our capacity to contribute meaningfully to the world around us. Every experience, whether a triumph that lifts us up or a challenge that stretches us, they play a role in molding who we are ultimately. We are not defined by where we start, but by how we have evolved. Growth invites us to become more aware, more resilient, more intentional in what we do. It urges us to ask the question, what am I learning? How am I changing? Who am I becoming? And in answering these questions, we discover that growth is not an event, but a continuous unfolding journey. Today, as we explore this topic, I invite us to all look inward and look forward to consider the ways in which growth has shaped our past, how it's influencing our present, and how growth can transform our future. Because in the end, our stories, our impact, and our legacy are all written in the ink of growth. So, I want to thank you once again for joining us, finding time to join us today. We'll be looking at this in greater depth after this time out. Please remain connected. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back. Our guest for today's topic need no further introduction. He's a regular and one of the pillar of this show. So you know him already. He's a business coach and he's fondly called coach, and some people call him Oracle. And he has different names. So he has different names given by different people apart from the one we gave him. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Rotimi Tayo to connect with Comfort Show today on this very important topic.
Good evening. Thank you for
Thank you,
having me.
Rotimi, for joining us.
Good evening.
Good evening. I know you are busy. We can hear some noise in the background, but we'll try and cope because you're a busy person. Thank you very much. So, without much ado, we'll go straight into this topic by asking you to define growth. What does growth mean to you as a person, as a professional, on emotional ground, and even spiritual?
Thank you very much. I'll start by saying that growth for me is an outcome. Growth is an outcome. It's an outcome across life's dimension that shows increase, that shows success, that shows significance, that shows movement on a progressive level. So, as individuals, as human beings, we believe that growth shows that life is in progress or is in existence. So, I believe that growth is not what we do, growth is what we become, growth is also the outcome that we have at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you can get the background noise minimized a bit so that it does not interfere too much. I know you are in a session. Okay. Thank you for that definition. I'm sure many people can understand and identify with that. But how do we distinguish between true growth and mere activities or business? Some people they are all motion, no movement. So how do we distinguish?
One practical way to be able to distinguish between growth and movement, or when we say growth and just productivity or activity, is the outcome and the results. I normally put it from this perspective that we can have output, but output do not necessarily guarantee outcomes, right? Our output are a sign that we are busy, we are active, we are having the activity of what we do, but then the outcome is really about the results. So for me, growth is embedded in the results that you have, right? If you think about a ceiling fan, when there's no power or there's power outage, it might still appear to move, but the electric current is no longer present. So it's a matter of time, it will come to a gradual halt. And like they normally say, a dead clock is right only twice a day. So growth really proves that there's outcome in what we do, there's result in what we do. And that's when you are able to distinguish being busy as opposed to being able to say you are growing. Thank you.
Hmm, that is very deep. So we should be result oriented and not just be seen to be doing something. What is the outcome? What are we giving as result of other business, if I can use that word? Thank you very much for that clarity. So let us identify and see how this is transformational. How does growth reshape our identity over time?
So I believe that that's a very powerful question because over a period of time, growth tends to shape our identity in the angle of how successful we are, because success is a dimension of growth. But furthermore, growth also helps us to shape our identity in terms of how significant that we are. People and businesses who have been able to demonstrate growth have actually stepped into a place of significance that it's difficult for them to be ignored. And if you look at it on the individual basis as well, growth has a way of standing you out. And that's why sometimes we use the nomenclature of the biggest brand, the best brand, the most brand, the first brand. It's a signal of growth. A growth that is being enjoyed by a person or brand tends to make them a force to be reckoned with, even sometimes within the markets that they play. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In that context, can someone experience significant growth without changing who they are at the core?
The truth about it is that growth actually would definitely change us. That's the truth about it because they normally talk about a model that guarantees growth, which is called the be, do, have model. That most of the time, while a lot of us are pursuing trying to have things in life, how to have things in business, we need to understand the cycle of that model says that we need to understand that we need to grow who we are, and it's who we become that affects what we do. Is what we do that guarantees what we have. So they call it the be, do, have model. So if there's anyone looking at having anything or possessing anything, he must connect it to what he does. But for you to do that thing excellently well, it must be connected to your being. So the quality of your being, the state of your being, the person you become as a person will ultimately affect what you do and eventually what you have.
Okay. So, thinking about that, what aspects of our identity tend to evolve the most as we grow? For instance, is it our values, our habits, mindsets, or even relationship?
I think our mindset is the very first thing that actually changes because it begins with the mind. We actually say to many people that we look with our eyes, we see with our minds. The moment we begin to see differently, we begin to do differently because our perception tends to create realities for us. So when you think differently, your mindset changes, your disposition to things changes, your mindset to money, your mindset to time, your mindset to people, your mindset to productivity, your mindset about opportunities. When you begin to have such a change in mindset, it begins to define how we respond to things. And that's when we begin to see behavioral changes. You know,
Can you take that again, the last part of it? Because the network froze a bit. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You are not audible. Okay, maybe before it comes back, just to reiterate that he did say, and I also want to confirm that our mindset will begin to change first when we experience growth. The growth which is going to affect our habits will also influence our mindset. I think he's having a network challenge. I hope he'll be able to join us quickly. we need to look at how growth can be catalyst for reinvention, discipline, and personal growth. And that's why we are linking it to habits, mindset. Are you graduating?
Yes. So
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Loud
Okay.
and clear.
So I was saying that the mindset is the very most important thing, the very first thing that changes, and then it gravitates to the disposition of behavior. So when we think differently, we begin to do differently. So as we grow in our mindset, as we shift in our mindset, we begin to shift in what we do. That's why we always say when people know better, they tend to do better. And then we now begin to see other micro levels of changes in our mentality, in our behavior, in the things we do, and the things that we have around us. So the first part is the mindset.
I agree. I agree. What usually triggers the most meaningful growth? Is it success, failure, or discomfort?
I think I would go for discomfort because sometimes success might come from a place of comfort. Success can come from a place of satisfaction. And so a lot of people who are already familiar, their reference point, they are always used to succeeding. They might not grow beyond a particular level. In fact, it might become too familiar with them that they don't even want to go to anything that they know they might get better, but it will be a risk of failure. And sometimes failure as good as it is, some of us tend to be very bad in responding to failure. So a lot of times people have checked out of certain things. People have not tried a second time because of failure. But the moment you become become uncomfortable, the moment you begin to feel discomfort, it begins to cause you to question things. It begins to cause you to feel like moving, and the thing synonymous to fear is immobilization. But the thing synonymous to discomfort is mobilization. So because of the discomfort, you are willing to move. It's just like when you find yourself in a hot environment, right? The discomfort due to the heat causes you to want to find something else to do. You want to expose yourself to somewhere that is windy. So it's the same way. So discomfort most times is a better guarantee to cause people to shift towards growth.
Thank you. So, what role does self awareness play in determining how growth affects who we become?
Self-awareness is everything. A lot of people don't know that they don't know, and they don't want to help. They don't want to receive help from people who know, and it's as a result of self-awareness. So a lot of times, some people don't even know how bad the situation is until someone is able to open their eyes. So when we begin to become self-aware, we begin to realize that this is where we are right now as a brand, as a person. This is where we ought to go to. So when you see that there's a discrepancy or there's a gap between where you are and where you want to go to, it causes you to be more informed in looking for how to get there. But if you are not even aware that you are in the wrong place, if you are not even aware that you have just used 10% of your capacity, if you are not even aware of the more that is available out there, there's a likelihood that you're going to take the shorter end of the stick. There's a likelihood you're not going to go for that. You're probably even going to settle for less. And that is going to deny you of true growth.
So, in other ways, you can become complacent. So, that's something we need to watch out for. In all this, is our environment. When we talk of environment, it can be family, culture, workplace, community, influence our growth trajectory.
So, can you come again with the question?
I'm saying that with what we have just looked at so far, can anything in our environment, and by environment I mean family, culture, workplace, community influence our growth trajectory.
Oh yes, we are a product of nature and nurture, and so the environment has a huge role to play. In fact, we sometimes say the environment is education in itself, because when you think about how your upbringing is, you adopt certain philosophy and beliefs from your environment. You also adopt certain acceptance in terms of reality of possibilities. So your environment can actually put a cap on you or a glass ceiling on you, and that's why a lot of people sometimes do not do more than they are able to do, because they are in an environment that is not in a reference of abundance. There are certain places that speak scarcity loud in your face. And when people are bound by environment, what happens is they are not able to do beyond. There's a popular illustration of a particular shark in a tank, and we all know what a shark is. A shark can grow very big in the water, natural habitat. But because the shark is kept in a tank, there is the tendency of actually just growing within the size of that tank. And so what now happens at the end of the day is that the shark is not living to its potential. The shark is living what we call a conditioned reality. But now, if you throw that same shark into salt water or into the ocean, you will be shocked that the shark will grow beyond the size of that tank or aquarium. So it's the same thing with every one of us. Our environment, regardless of who we are, can play a key role in even how far we can see, how far we can dream, and how far we can go. So environment plays a very critical role. They say you can take a man out of the bush, but if you are not careful, you might not be able to take the bush out of the man. You'll find the man in the same place.
Thank you very much for that. That's something we really need to watch out for. So we know our environment is very critical and we should be mindful. And that's what that is saying. Anything that is going to cause limitation for us, we should avoid it or try to make sure we live above it. Thank you very much for that response. It may sound it may sound funny that maybe some people may not want growth, but we have such. So why do some people resist growth even when it is necessary?
Number one is because they don't want to be changed. They like to be in the status quo. They rather want everything to change as long as they don't change. That's one. Number two is because a lot of times people are actually scared of succeeding. It might sound strange, but the truth is people are afraid of succeeding. So what if I truly succeed? And a lot of people are plagued by not just their personal philosophies, but they've also inherited certain other philosophies of other people. And that affects them. And then also their personal values. A lot of us have what you call values mismatch. So we have values based on the dictionary meaning. So you see people say, my value is integrity, my value is this. And so some people don't realize that values actually deliver the goals and dreams that you have, not the other way around. So someone is saying that, well, I am a person of integrity. And then they now say, if I start pursuing money, the fear is that
You can be compromised. No network. Okay. Maybe I can come in there. That perhaps if you are pursuing money, the fear is that you might be compromised along the way. So they rather keep in the comfort zone or a safe zone to avoid being compromised. But that should actually not deter us from pursuing growth. It it should not deter us from pursuing growth. Another thing that deters people from pursuing growth is fear, insecurity. Why I'm pursuing this growth? What if the undesired happens? That can make them to limit themselves or keep themselves to status quo, like he said, and not want to move out of their comfort zone. You are welcome back. It's like the network is dealing with us. You are welcome back. You can finish your
Thank you.
thoughts.
Thank you.
You can finish your thoughts on why people
Okay.
resist growth.
So sometimes the values that we have might not be the values that subscribe to the goals that we have, which will lead to growth. So I was making an example of people who say they are people of integrity, and because they don't understand that they need to school themselves with the values that they have. Integrity would not cause you to integrity should not be the reason why you shouldn't pursue having money or being wealthy. But a lot of people think that, oh, integrity means you don't want to get, if you try to make money, you will lose your integrity, and that means they have a wrong perception, and so they are dealing with what we call means goal versus end goal, and they are looking at it, and that's why a lot of people believe that anybody that is rich, they feel that is doing something shady. Unfortunately, that now causes them not to go as far than the barest minimum. Well, I can have what I can eat, what I can use to clothe myself, I'm fine. Unfortunately, they now deny themselves of growth. So, and this a lot of times find out that many people are in this category where they are having a philosophy hinged on the wrong values and now affects them for pursuing what they even know is growth.
Okay. So, but yes, you have explained and why people should not be deterring themselves from growing. Can growth ever lead us in the wrong direction?
It's a very tricky question. Growth will not lead us in the wrong direction, but with growth will come the challenge of choice, and our choices will lead us in the right or wrong direction. Because growth in itself is an outcome. Becoming powerful, becoming a leader, becoming influential, getting a profitable business, they are all outcomes. But the choices we make with such outcomes can now lead us into
Wrong
wrong
direction.
things. So we can make choices that can harm us. We can make choices that can harm the brand. We can make uninformed choices. We can make uncalculated decisions. And those things lead us in the wrong direction. But growth in itself doesn't necessarily lead us in the wrong direction. It's just an outcome.
So, how do we ensure that growth that we pursue aligns with our values and long-term purpose?
I think it starts from us going back to the vision that we have, either for our lives or for that purpose or for that business, which is how actually the flow. Vision comes first, the mission comes next, the values comes after. The vision will tell us the values we should subscribe to. And based on the values we subscribe to, then we'll now get into a position where we are able to now do the right thing or get the right outcome. And then we're not having ourselves in a wrong position.
So, what does intentional growth look like compared to accidental or forced growth?
Intentional growth is growth by design. It's growth that you actually know, you plan for, you design for, and you position for. So the outcome doesn't surprise you. But the moment the outcome surprises you, then it's an accidental growth. It's an accidental outcome.
So, if the outcome surprises you, it's an accidental growth. But does it mean accidental growth is not good or may not be good? You can project that a business.
Accidental
Uh,
growth.
right. I was going to say you can project an outcome for a business engagement, for instance, and surprisingly, it's your expectation is surpassed. Like the outcome quadruples what you planned for other factors, of course. Do we now say that that
Yes.
accidental
So
growth is
that's
not
now
good?
from the, yeah. No, no, no. So at least there's a design that preceded that outcome. So the magnitude of the outcome can surprise us. That's excitement. But in terms of when it wasn't a plan, that's accidental. It's just like somebody stumbling on something. That's accidental. But if it is a designed pathway that led to that growth, then that is now intentional growth. And the reason why we always tell people to do that is because at least that's within your control. You can't predict how many accidental outcomes that will come to you, but you can at least predict the ones that you design. And when you design it well, it gives you a better outcome.
Okay. So how should we measure the impact of growth on our lives, externally or internally?
Well, not all growth is visible, and definitely in measuring growth, it has to be both internally, externally. There are certain things people won't see. There are certain things the world will not notice, but we can tell. Our roots are going deeper. Our foundation is getting stronger. We are becoming enlightened. We are becoming informed. We are increasing our level of awareness. We are showing a bit of stability. There's a bit of predictive profiling for ourselves. But then the external part is that, oh, it's making sense. We're making money. We're getting successful. We're growing in size, or we're increasing in numbers. We're getting significance. We're growing market share. There's a bit of identity and visibility to our advantage. All those are external growth. So those two things are easily measured, the one that is visible and the one that is not.
Okay, thanks. So in what ways can growth make us more resilient, more empathic, and more purposeful?
In what ways growth can make us more resourceful or purposeful?
More resilient, more empathic,
Okay.
and more purposeful.
So they normally say success leaves clues. So by the time we are growing in tend to for a future expectation easily as possible. And that's why you find out that people who grow easily embrace scaling up, scaling higher. People who grow embrace growing better, becoming bigger. People who grow are actually looking for new conquests, looking for new markets to conquer, looking for new areas to penetrate. So growth in itself is an encourager because it can serve as a down payment for our future expectation.
So how does growth we experience influence the people around us, family, colleagues, and community? Did you get that? Did you get the question? Did you get the question? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Audio, please.
So, yes, I got the question. I got the
Okay.
question. So I'm saying that growth. Oh, hello,
Hello?
hello,
Yeah, we can hear you now.
hello,
We can hear you. We can hear you.
hello. So I
We can
said
hear you.
yes, yes. So I said our growth is a template in itself. So the more we succeed, the more we give others permission to succeed. Our testimony becomes their testimony. So they can say that if he can do it, if she can do it, I can do it. So it becomes people's reference point. The more we begin to see ourselves grow, family, friends, members of our family, friends, social circle tend to begin to get the opportunity to see it's possible. Mentorship sometimes can start from there. And in some cases, our growth can give us the position to be of help, either financially or career wise, to the people coming after us. So, growth is a multiplier in itself. It can cause us to accelerate others because we know the shortcuts now. It can also cause us to amplify others as well. Thank you.
Okay. So, in what ways does personal growth contribute to our legacy and how we are remembered?
Personal growth actually reinforces and stamps our legacy. Because when you think about it carefully, right, our legacy is the summary of the things that people remember while we are here after we are gone, right? Whether it's positionally or in existence. So, consistency in personal growth helps the story to end in a positive chapter as opposed to a retrogression. It's not going to be a story that you hit the climax, then you now go anti-climax. But when people consistently grow, it gives them the opportunity to sign off on their legacy. That this person came, this person saw, and this person conquered. But once the person declines, it means that the person came, the person saw, the person probably tried to conquer, or even conquered, the person stopped, the person declined. That's not a good chapter for anybody. It's not a good chapter for any brand. It's not a good chapter for the end of life. It's not a good chapter to transition into another thing. But if you come and you saw, if you came and you saw and you conquered, it means that the end was not an end. The end just ended the person's phase of growth. And that in itself consolidates legacy.
Fantastic. I think it ties nicely with the saying that growth is an ongoing journey, not a destination. What will you comment on that?
Yes, growth is a journey. Why I said that is number one, science backs that statement that anything that is not growing is dying. That's one. Two, because the journey is a work in progress. We learn as we grow. We grow and we learn. And as we grow, we begin to sow seeds, we begin to move on towards a possible harvest. So when we think about it from that perspective, we begin to realize that the end is not just the goal is growth because the journey we meet people, we meet obstacles, we face challenges, we surmount challenges, we help on the way, we grow on the way, we learn on the way, we learn together, we share together, and we grow together. So when we have that mindset and disposition, we're able to be very intentional to enjoy the journey along the way. So we don't miss teachable moments, we don't miss learning points, we don't miss turning points as well at the end of the day.
Okay. So if you are going to share with us a typical life example of what this topic really means, what would that be?
Oh, fantastic. I would use my personal experience in terms of being a trainer and a public speaker. I, I definitely had a beginning. Each time I was going to present or train in public, the pressure of preparation was there. You know, the expectation, the concern of audience reaction, the possibility of, learning outcomes and all those things. It was thorough. You probably almost will fast and pray before a speaking engagement. But over time, right, I haven't gotten to know the dynamics and the science of presentation. I haven't gotten to know how to master my subject. I haven't gotten to be able to also get into an area of domain and expertise. I haven't grown in profile and I haven't tried several audiences. It gave me more confidence to know that I can create a craft as opposed to pursue an activity. And then being able to do that, I've been able to gain subject matter expertise. That when I'm given opportunity to speak, preparation is not worrisome. Preparation is not burdensome. And sometimes you speak effortlessly. The butterflies are sometimes never even there. If at all they come, it's just for seconds. And then you can speak already seeing the end at the mind. Sometimes I speak with the main idea of, oh, am I speaking to persuade? Am I speaking to inform? Am I speaking to engage? And I can flow through the different audience and get to see. And when I look back, I see I have grown. And that growth has also stamped an identity where people now just look at me as someone that is a wannabe. They are not taking me as someone that is an expert. And it's giving opportunity for more frontiers, higher level, higher audiences, and of course, better income. So that journey just shows that growth really defines us. So before now, you would have said a speaker, but now they would have said, oh, the speaker. Before you would have said a guest, but now it's now the special guest. Before they would have just said, oh, Rotimi Itayo, but now the appellation matters. Either you say the courage coach or the business strategist or the growth expert. So it is an evidence of
Or the
growth.
oracle?
Yes, the oracle.
You didn't know that I heard that. Okay. Thank you very much. What would your parting shot be on this topic? You've actually shared great insight on it. What
My
would your
parting,
parting shot be?
my parting shot would be that for everyone listening and anyone who will listen after now, growth is a must. It's not something that is a nice to have, it's a must. In all that we do, we must make sure we grow. And as we grow, we focus on the journey, not just the destination. So that the pressure of comparison, the pressure of not being done, does not take away the joys of the moment, right? The learner, the more we learn, the more we grow, the better we become. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's always a delight to have you on this show. You've actually proved your mental. You shared great insights into the topic at hand, and we are very grateful. While we were on, we had some people join us, our regulars. Ibukun Olu joined us from Lagos here. Taiwo Ojo, our regular audience, joined us from Abuja. Perhaps if there are other names that I have not been able to pick, I appreciate you all for joining. I hope we have been able to make an impact. You'll be able to learn one or two new things from this session. And we are grateful to our special guest, the coach, for doing what he knows how to do best, sharing great insights. into the topic at hand. So, as we draw this conversation to a close, one truth stands clear: growth is not an event, it is a journey that continually shapes, refines, and redefines who we become. You have been told it's not a destination, it's a journey. In every season of our lives, growth whispers an invitation to stretch beyond comfort, to question our limits, to embrace change, not to rely on status quo, and to pursue excellence with courage. Growth defines who we are because it reveals what we value. It shows whether we choose resilience over retreat, learning over stagnation, and purpose over convenience. It uncovers our true character, strengthens our convictions, and equips us for the demands of a world that is constantly shifting. As we live here today, may we commit to becoming intentional gardeners of our own lives, nurturing our potentials, pruning our weaknesses, and celebrating every milestone, no matter how small they are. May we continue to evolve, to aspire, and to step boldly into the versions of ourselves that our future requires. As we grow, may we illuminate the path for others, proving that growth is not just personal, it is transformational. Once again, I would like to appreciate all our online audience for spending time to connect with us today for this enlightening session on how growth defines who we are. I hope you have all enjoyed today's episode. If so, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Comfort Eyitayo. Once you have subscribed, please turn on the notification button, like and share our videos. Stay updated with information about upcoming events, solutions, and offers on my Instagram account at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as my Facebook account at Comfort Eyitayo. Till I come your way again, let us remember that the true measure of a person is not where they stand today, but how far they are willing to grow tomorrow. Do have a blessed new week. See you next time on Connect with Comfort Show.